Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. In this video I'm going to cover all the new barter trades that have been added since patch 0.11, how you unlock some of them, which ones are worthwhile, and then other ones that are just a waste of time. I've also got a spreadsheet down below that we've been developing now for over 6 months, and effectively we add all the newest trades to it and adjust it when they happen. So you've got all of them there in the one spot. However, there are some things that have been changing quite rapidly in the battle state games and Tarkov world, so just be patient because sometimes it takes us a couple of days to actually update it. But anyway, without further ado, let's crack straight into it. So first up from Rapport level 1, we've got the army bag. This is just a nice little cheap trade you can do for 2 soaps. I don't actually think you're ever really going to use it. I think it's almost like a waste of space there, but it's a new one that's been added. The next one we've got is from Rapport level 2. It's the entrenching tool or the shovel. You can get this with a 2 pom-pom hats. It's a cool little shovel. I've done an actual weapon guide video. The shovel's not really the greatest of weapons to use as a melee, but it's kind of cool because it's, something different to a hatchet. Next, we've got the 6H5 bayonet. This one trades for 2 aquamaris and 2 air filters. It's not a very good melee weapon or bayonet, but if you're actually after it, that's where you get it. Now, Battlestate Games has started moving in a new direction with making the high tier ammo available through alternative means, being the barter trades. And now you can get the 7 and 9 ammo, which is a 9x39 for the ASVL or VSS, for a blue tape. You can do this up to 50 times, and every trade's worth 8 ammunition. Technically, you could get 400 ammunition per reset if you were willing to get 50 blue tapes for it. It can get quite expensive, but we are talking top tier ammo here, and I really like the idea that they're starting to add alternative means rather than just straight raw cash to getting this top tier gear. Next, we've got the 7N12 ammunition, which is also another 9x39. The difference with this one is you need to complete the quest Grenadier from Rapport. This quest requires you to kill 12 PMCs with grenades. Once that quest is complete, you can purchase this ammunition from Rapport tier 4 for strike cigarettes. Also 50 max trays per reset. Now here we've got the Rapport, on Rapport 4, we've got the RPK-16 95 round mag. These trade for car batteries. You can trade 2 per reset. It's a really cool magazine. It can go on all the 545 variants. The only downside to this magazine is it's got a slower reloading speed, and it also has a slower check mag speed. So besides that, I use them when I use an RPK, but you can use it on any 545 variant gun. This is the closest we can get right now to converting a gun to an LMG. Next, we've got the RPK-16. This is the most efficient way of purchasing the RPK-16. It's for 3 gunpowders and 200 M61 rounds. You unlock the M61 rounds from Wet Job Part 6 in the Peacekeeper storyline. And this will probably cost you around 300,000 rubles if you were to purchase the gunpowder off the flea market and then buy the M61 rounds yourself. Otherwise, you can buy these on the flea market for about 500k. You can actually flip these on the flea market to make a profit every reset if you really wanted to do that, seeing that you could purchase your own M61 ammo. But that's entirely up to you what you want to do with it. The RPK-16 is an amazing firearm to use. I just did a recent video on that, and it's almost a laser beam, and with the 95 rounds, it just shreds. It's a heap of fun. Moving over to Peacekeeper, and now this is one of the newest additions to the trading. It's the intelligence documents for an M1A. You need 2 of them. These spawn all over the shop in labs, and there's heaps of spawns for it. I'm glad they added something for it because there was just heaps of them sitting up on the flea market and no one knew what to do with them. I think their prices are probably skyrocketed by now, but effectively the M1A is a really good semi-automatic rifle. It uses the M80, M61 and M62 ammo, and it's really good for head taps. Unfortunately, up until recent, it's been quite difficult to get Peacekeeper level 3, purely for the fact that you had to get tasks done to get your reputation up. They have made an adjustment to Friend from the West Part 1, and that is you no longer need to get 5 USET kills on Shoreline, it's just 5 USET kills. And now because of that, you can actually start getting your Peacekeeper storyline done very early on, and then move on to getting the higher tier Peacekeeper items. Next, from Peacekeeper level 3, we've got the War Mage ammunition boxes. This is one of the highest tier 5.56 ammunition you can get. Requires 4D batteries to trade, and each ammunition pack has 20 rounds in it. I was looking up on the flea market just before. There is absolutely none of these up for sale. It's really interesting because I'd imagine they'd be actually selling for quite a bit if they were selling. But there might be a market there to actually make some money here. I'm unsure. Just to add in here as well, the War Mage ammo doesn't have penetration value. It's only got a 3 penetration value, but an 83 flesh damage. So this is one of those ones where you'd either go leg matter, or if they're a hatchling or not wearing much armor, you could pretty much just one tap them in the chest or head. Now moving over to Ragman. The first one we've got is the 6B5 15 armored rig. Previously, you could just purchase this. They've actually changed it over to a barter trade now. It requires you to have 1 bleach and 3 sodium. This is a rig and armor at the same time, but you are unable to wear armor as well as it. So you can't chuck this on and then say put a Gen 4 on. And if you were to loot a Gen 4 in a raid, you'd have to toss something. So if you're going into lab with this rig, it can get quite frustrating. Like for me personally, when I had to quickly move everything around, I didn't really like using it, but for some people, they might enjoy it. Besides that, it is a class 4 armor, and it does have quite good stats on it besides, say, the movement speed. But overall, it's kind of like your cheap early armor that's a high tier, works as a rig, and it can get you by if you have some spare bleach or sodium. Next from Ragman 3, we have the belt. It's like a belt rig. It's quite a large rig. It's probably the largest in the game, if not very close to. You've got 25 squares, but most of them are single, which kind of can be annoying depending on what you're using. I've tried using this in labs and interchange to do extra looting. I found it more frustrating than anything because you want to loot a fair few 2-slot items and then it gets in the way. So it depends on, I don't know where exactly you want to use it, but it's a handy rig to have if you want to just do a quick trade for a teapot. The next rig I've never actually seen anyone use, which is the M1 rig from Ragman level 3. Requires 4 Aquamaris. This is a class 3 armored rig, and it does have a fair bit of space in it. You could use your 95 round mags here, or if you want to use a grizzly, you could chuck a grizzly in here as well. And it's a quite acceptable rig to be using if you wanted to use it. The issue is, for Aquamari, this doesn't really seem to... It's just a little bit too expensive overall. Next, we've got the Musker 1SCH. This is the killer helmet without the face shield, and you can just get it for 3M armors. Something like this can't be used with contacts or any sort of like hearing benefit. So I kind of find these helmets really annoying to use unless you actually have the face shield to use with it. If there was other face shields you could put on it, that would be great. But as far as I know at the moment, I haven't heard of anyone else putting up. I've never seen anyone else put something else on it. But effectively, it's a really cool helmet without any face protection. So you might as well use one of the other helmets and not do the trades. But it is technically a cheap trade. You can pick up 3M armors quite cheap at times, or you could actually just find them in raids and then use them yourself. So there is an option there to make it that way. Next, we've got from Ragman 4 the Blackjack backpack. This is a Mystery Ranch backpack that I've actually used in real life. The thing about this backpack is it's the biggest backpack in the game, and it's 6 wide, 7 deep, making it really interesting for when you want to actually do some looting. You might actually get some extra stuff in there because of the actual extra width it gives you. The problem with this is paracords are actually quite expensive at the moment. I think on average you're paying around 100,000 rubles. So 4 paracords for this backpack is effectively 400,000 rubles just for a backpack, and you can pretty much buy everything else that you want to wear in very high tiers. Say Gen 4 armor, a good rig on, helmet, and some contacts, and it's still under 400,000 rubles. So this backpack, currently, I don't believe many people will be using it purely past the fact of seeing what it looks like, or they find it on a radar or a scav, which I don't remember seeing myself, maybe one. But yeah, overall, it's just too expensive to become an item that's going to be used past memeing, really. Next, from Ragman 4, we've got the Crash Axe. This one requires you to have 2 marked keys, 1 West 112 key, and 7 paracords. Now, this is about the second best axe in the game, or melee weapon in the game. However, it is quite expensive. It will set you back about 2 million rubles worth of items to trade for. If you're a collector of melee weapons, it's not bad to have, but effectively you're better off buying a sword, as the sword's the best melee weapon in the game if you were going to go for the best melee weapon. But for meme's sake, or you just like the look of it, it's a pretty cool weapon to have, but it will set you back about 2 million rubles worth of trades. Also, to unlock this, you will require to complete the task scavenger, which you need to get level 10 in search. This is pretty much leveled by searching either rigs, backpacks, pockets, containers, anything that you can search. Every time you find an item, it levels this up. So I think this took me about a week to finish this quest, a little bit less, and that's how you do it pretty much. The final item for Ragman 4 is the Zook 6A armor. This is a tier or an armor class 6 armor, and it costs 2 vases. The only issue with this armor in its entirety is it doesn't cover your stomach or your arms. So overall, it is a very good armor, but the extra arm protection that, say, a Ford armor would give you is just more important. So if you do have spare vases and you want to try this out, it does have good movement speed, so you can get around a lot better on it, which is great. But just take in mind that you're not completely protected compared to a Ford armor. The next items we have is from Skier. This is the 12x70 RIP ammunition. It's a new ammo for the shotgun. This requires you to complete the quest Bullshit, and for this quest you need to go into customs and drop off some items inside the dorms on the 3rd level. Once you've completed the quest, you will be able to purchase the ammunition here. Each box has 5 rounds in it and trades for 1 T-plug. You can do 12 trades per reset, which means you get 60 per reset. But you need to you'll have to get all the T-plugs to do it. Now this dip or RIP ammo, whichever you want to call it, does have only 2 pen, but it does a total of 256 flesh damage per hit. So it's a slug round. It will only hit in the one spot, but because it will penetrate or effectively do so much damage to that one, it'll hit the rest of the body because of that. Next from Skier 4, we have the 9x19 RIP ammo. For this one, you need to complete the quest setup, which is kill 15 PMCs on customs while wearing a particular set of gear. Once you've unlocked the barter trade, every trade will be worth 20 rounds, and it will cost you 2 chainlets to do. You can do this 8 times per reset, meaning a maximum of 160 rounds per reset. The RIP ammo for the 9x19 has 2 pen, but 102 flesh damage. It will drop someone extremely quickly in the leg, or if they're not wearing armor, you'll one-tap them in the chest. Great ammunition, extremely expensive to purchase, so I think you got to take it as a grain of salt, and if you get the opportunity to use it, give it a crack. Personally, and I heard Deadly Slob say this during his stream when I was watching it the other day, he thinks that the top tier ammos like this are probably best suited for pistols. And I agree with this. You put this on a pistol, you could probably 2-tap someone in the leg, or maybe 2 to 3-tap. Otherwise, you go for the chest, and they're not wearing armor, you'll 1-tap them in the chest. This is where I think this ammo sits right now, and it's a really good idea. That I'm glad he brought that up, because it triggered in my brain, like, hey, that's actually perfect. Because the cost of this ammunition, say on a MP5, you'll be firing around so quickly, it'd be like throwing money just like into the rubbish bin. It just costs that much, and it shoots that quickly on an MP5. The next item we got from Skier 4 is the M2 Tactical Sword. This requires you to get Stress Resistance level 18. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, how do you get Stress Resistance up? Effectively, taking damage, running on a broken leg gets it leveled up. Someone was doing some testing and was giving me the feedback. Effectively running for 20 seconds on a blacked out limb, so they would jump off something to break their leg, take a painkiller or a morphine, run for their full bar of stamina, and it was giving them about 4 points in stress resistance. I've already got like level 30 something in stress resistance now, and that's pretty much because, say I go factory, I break a leg or I get a blacked out leg, and I just keep running on it anyway because I'm on painkillers. To my understanding, that's probably the fastest way to level it. But yeah, that's how you unlock getting stress resistance level 18. Once you do unlock the M2 sword, it will require the military radio, the checkpoint key, and the pro kill medallion. They usually set you back around 1.2 million rubles, and these swords sell from 2 million rubles onwards. So it's really good money to make if you're flipping it. And it's actually the best melee weapon in the game. I've done a guide on all the new melee weapons, and it's got the longest range, the highest, like I call it, the slash damage, and the highest stab damage. Moving over to the 2 new trades from Therapist, the Holodilnic It's a food container. It costs a shitload at the moment because people actually want one just to try it out and have a look at it. But effectively, you need 10 hot rods, 5 tarcola, 5 herring, and 5 squash. Now, if you buy these off the flea market, you're looking at probably around 500,000 to $1 million rubles just to buy all the actual food and drinks to get it. And it's effectively just a food container. It's got 49 squares inside to fill with food and drink, and it's just a helpful thing to have. Say you're particularly at the moment if you're on a standard edition account and you want somewhere to store your Tushonka and all your other food ingredients. The last item for therapists is the thick item case. Now, this one requires you to have 10 defibs, 10 LED-X, and then 8 ibuprofen. As a whole, this will probably set you back around 10 million worth of ingredients or items to trade for. The issue is those LED-X are trying to be found from everywhere. I only know about 3 or 4 spawns myself, and there's a lot of just stuff going on with trying to find where they are. There's, I know, 2 locations that people have been telling me about where they can see them, but they can't loot them because they can't get close enough. Hopefully these get adjusted in the future. If you do find stuff like that, guys, make sure you do report it. It will help the game get better overall. But overall, this is the exact same size case as a scav junk box, but you can put everything in it. The cool thing about this one as well, you can actually put in weapon cases. There's no restriction at the moment for chucking in a weapon case inside there. That might change in the future, but I just thought I'd chuck that out there. So if you really are crammed for space, you could chuck a few weapon cases in there to make that a little bit extra. So guys, that's it for this video. I know there was a lot to cover. Hopefully you learned something. Just be sure if you do have any of these barter trays that you want to just, say you found a few items in a raid and you want to know what you can use them for, go down to the link below. There's a spreadsheet link to a Google Docs sheet that we've made as my community. You can Control F and search for the items that you're after, and you might be able to find some items that you want to trade for that, you know, that would be handy to have. So that's there for you guys. Feel free to use it as much as you want. Besides that, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for future content. I stream on Twitch 6 days a week. Go down the link below. Give me a follow over there. If you got any Tarkov questions, chuck them down in the comments. Hit me up on my live stream. I'm happy to answer anything you can about streaming, Tarkov, anything really. And lastly, guys, I'll see you next time. What if Nikita was one of us?